Welcome to Cranks and Cogs, kind of a reboot. Started this thing a couple years ago and just didn't get it off on the right foot. So we're going to kind of restart it and do it the way I really wanted to do it. And our first guest with this reboot is Alan Stocker. Alan, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
And what we're going to talk about is Alan's experiences doing Unbound 2025. So didn't go well for you, but an experience, and I think that's as interesting
Yeah,
as if you'd finished and everything had gone perfectly. Let's learn from what you went through and what you'll take into the next time. So you 200, right?
that's correct.
That's what you signed up for, is the 200. Now the first question that comes to me is you live out West County, Chesterfield area, that area. How do you train for? I mean, you can only go to Bush so much and ride, and where? How do you train for this? It gets because you got to find some pretty tough gravel roads to ride on to get ready. I would think.
Yeah, and I probably didn't ride as many as I should have.
Okay.
So I ride a lot of the roads out here. I would do, like you said, the bush wildlife, do some gravel rides there and Katy Trail, things like that. I really just tried to focus on hills since I knew it's a hilly course,
Yeah.
um, and just riding a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was your first time with Unbound, or
Yeah, this was my first Unbound. So sort of on a whim, I just turned 40. I was like, I'm gonna sign up for
uh
the Unbound 200. Just see what happens, see if I get
huh.
in, you know, put my name in the hat. And as soon as I got that email, I was like, all right, we get serious now, and we're not can't can't ride 4 hours a week to prepare.
Right. Right. So what did you do? Did you? I mean, 200 miles. Had you ever ridden 200 miles before?
No, I'm very still new to cycling. Like
Okay.
Unbound was my third actually like organized ride.
Oh boy.
Um,
Oh, way to
so
jump in the deep end. Holy smokes.
yeah, I just recently in the last few years got into cycling. Um, was, sort of the typical runner that kept getting injured as my mileage would get higher. So
Yep.
really fell in love with cycling and um, being able to do long days out in nature, even mountain biking some. Got into that. Did my first, gosh, 50 and 100-mile ride just a year ago.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so I've always been that kind of type A person though that
Uh
when I do something, I do it all the way.
yeah, yeah. So what did you crank your weekly mileage up to? Were you doing 100 miles a week, 150?
Y- Yeah, I shot for time. So I
Okay.
basically, as soon as I got that email in, I think it was November, maybe late November of last year, I sort of ramped it up pretty quickly to 8 hours, 10 hours a week.
Okay.
A lot. I mean, with the winters here, it was pretty much all indoors.
Yeah.
Um, until like February, there, those days you can get out. Uh, yeah, I'm not the type that's riding in the 20-degree weather.
Yep. Yeah, I used
So
to do that. I used to do that. Nah, not anymore. Zwift came along. Nope, I'll stay inside. Thank you. Yeah, and
yeah,
this was
Zwift is so nice for that too.
yeah,
So it makes it a lot more manageable than staring at a wall.
right. Oh yeah, and this was not a winter that you could. I mean, there were a lot of days when you just simply couldn't get out, and even if you wanted to. But yeah, no, Swift. Yeah. So when you made the trip to Emporia, did you feel like you were ready to go? I mean, were you
I felt very prepared.
okay?
I did the last 4 or 5 weeks. I pretty much did a century every weekend,
Oh, okay.
and peaked at 12 hours a week. So I felt really strong. Rode the Vino Fondo Century 3 weeks out from
Yeah.
Unbound. I think that's it's like 7,000 feet of climbing, just
Right.
under.
Yeah.
And I felt really strong that whole ride. When I finished, I was like, I I got this. Like,
Okay.
um, got a
Yeah.
little too overconfident probably.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, so
better than going there with all kinds of doubts about whether you can even turn the pedals. So it's all right. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Did let's talk equipment. Did what talk about your bike? What'd you ride and of course tires and pressure.
Yeah, I did so much research on this because that was one of my worst fears is just dealing with flats all day long. You just hear all the stories and watch all the YouTube clips
Right.
and
Yep.
things like that. So I dug so much into that. So I actually rode the Lauf Segla, and I love that bike. That's like the best decision I've made. Like I don't even want to ride my road bike
Oh
anymore.
really? Yeah.
That unique suspension that's on it just it really smooths everything out. Super comfortable. And then I put Pathfinder Pro 47 tires on.
47s.
Um,
Okay.
47s, yeah. And that I felt like worked really well. Like during my time at Unbound, I didn't have any mechanical issues.
Yeah. So then you've because that I watched a whole bunch of the videos and it's how wide do we do mountain bike 2.2s. Don't even talk to me about 38s or 40s. Those are like road tires. And so you felt like you found the right width then.
Yeah, it came with, I believe, 50s on it.
Uh huh.
Um, and everyone talks about the mud years at Unbound and like you got to have clearance. Um, After speaking with the people that do that, they almost sort of talk about like just if as soon as you hit a mud like that, you just have to pick up your bike and walk it.
Oh.
It almost like you can have all the clearance in the world, but that mud is so sticky that if it starts sticking to your wheels, it will get everywhere and you can't get it off.
Yeah.
So um, the 47s, I just wanted something that was really tough. And those Pathfinder Pros, I was riding the old ones. I know they just redid those tires.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like you can run over tacks in those. It's amazing.
Now, obviously, tubeless inserts,
No
no
inserts.
inserts.
Yeah, just orange sealant.
Uh huh. Okay. And what pressure did you decide on?
I did just under 30, like 28.
Okay.
Uh, didn't get fancy. I just did the same front and rear.
Yeah.
My pumps, I don't have like an electronic pump, so I'm sort of plus or minus a couple
Yeah.
PSI anyways.
Yeah.
So
The range on conventional pumps.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty sloppy. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So okay, so that's it, and that interests me because I've been learning riding gravel. I was at I'm clearly heavier than you, and I was riding at 40, and people were telling me, no, you got to drop it down. You got to drop it down, and I did the last. Well, Herman was the last gravel ride I did, and I dropped it down below 35. I couldn't believe how much better that was. And so you're 30 and less, then that's okay. Yeah.
yeah. It really does smooth everything out. Um, I was very hesitant of that too, worried about like pinch flats and things like
Right.
that.
Right.
But just yeah, took a chance doing that and did like a 100-mile gravel ride, and I didn't have any tire issues. So I was like, okay, I guess this
Yeah.
lower pressure
Yeah.
is where it's at.
Drivetrain, electronic shifting. What'd you have?
Yeah, electronic shifting. It's I think it's the AXS 4. It's like
Mm.
what came on the the bike.
Okay. Uh huh.
So, but good gearing. A one by, so I didn't have to worry about a front derailleur.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was a 40 on the front, and the back cassette goes all the way to 52, so you have all the gears
Okay.
you want, which is really nice because I did. You start getting tired later on when the hills just keep coming and coming. It's nice to
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
extra gear.
Oh yeah. Watching it on YouTube, man, that was something that struck me. As those hills just never stop. Jeez, those guys are up and down all the time. It's just got to be exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah, and like later on, like about halfway through, I think is like where Little Egypt is, that they
Yeah.
talk about that, and those hills are. That's the first hill I've walked in probably over, gosh, a year and a half, two
Oh.
years.
Finally got it. It finally made you
Yeah,
walk. Okay.
yep.
Okay. Yeah. Hey. You get that far, no shame in that. That's
Yeah.
yeah. So, what did you carry? I mean, in terms of repair, plugs, extra sealant,
Yeah, I
tube.
had a lot. I had two tubes. Um, I had I'm blanking on who makes the tubeless patch kits that have like the little sharp, you stick it through. Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
had some tubeless repair things. I had tire boots. I had everything in my pack and in my
yeah, yeah.
saddlebag, and two CO2s and a pump on the frame. I was prepared for anything because you just never know what you're gonna get
Right,
thrown. You don't want to go out that way. So
right. Well, yeah, and if you watch a bunch of videos, there's so many different experiences. People have trouble of all kinds, and yeah, if you want to survive it, you got to prepare for it. Yeah, there was. I watched Ben Delaney, his video where he was showing videos of the top three finishers in the elite division, their bikes afterwards, and holy smokes, what filthy messes! I'm sure yours was too, but
hmm
showing how they had stuff taped everywhere, an extra tube taped, uh, CO2s taped on their frame, just all kinds of things, and the same kind of prep, just anywhere they could tape something on, they would just to have it ready. So yeah, yeah. Did now leading up to that? I mean, it was rainy all week. Did How was that for you mentally? I mean, were you back and forth on what am I going to do with tires and what are we going to face?
yeah, I didn't. I was That's why I sort of went with the 47 because that the Segla can fit up to like a 2.2 mountain bike
Uh,
tire. So I had the clearance. I wasn't going to change anything smaller than a 47. Um, but it was stressful because, the pictures on like
I
Facebook, like
know.
in the Unbound groups, they were insane. Just that, I think it was like the Wednesday before the
Yeah,
race. I mean, it was unrideable.
yeah,
Even for like the pros, like some of the pros were like we've never seen, you know, not the guys that have already done Unbound, but some of the
right.
other guys
Yeah,
that, came from across this, the seas kind of thing. They're like, it's unrideable.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, it's gonna be warm, it's gonna be dry then for next couple days. Hopefully we'll get lucky. And really, like, we did get lucky.
yeah. Because
I
I
I
mean,
only had
it was dusty. I mean, the watching
mhm.
the feed on YouTube, it was dusty, so it dried out in a hurry. Then,
Yeah, there was no mud until, gosh, probably mile 70.
yeah, yeah,
And I only had to walk my bike through one section mud. The rest was like rideable.
yeah. You took the advice. Here's mud. I'm walking.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Did When did you arrive?
I arrived the Thursday evening
Okay.
before, so I drove in. I think it was like a 5 hour drive,
Hmm.
um, uneventful drive in. But
So then Friday you were able to test some of the course and just see what you were dealing with.
so I thought about it. I've always done well though, like sort of resting the day
Okay.
before a race. I didn't really trust myself not to go out and do, 50,
Yeah.
60, 70 miles and just have too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I just walked down to the expo and like checked out all that stuff, which was really neat.
Yeah.
Watched the what is it, the XL 350 take
Oh
off.
man,
Like those
those
guys are
guys,
insane.
those guys. Jeez. Yeah, I can't even relate to that, man. Just to leave, what was it, 3 in the afternoon, and knowing that the bulk of your ride is going to be all night, man. That's a mental battle right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so impressive. And
Yeah.
I think they finished at like 8 or 9 in the morning the
Yeah.
next day. So like some of the races, like the what is it, the 25 and 50 start later. I don't even know if they had started by the time they finished. Like it's
No, they
wild.
hadn't. No, they talked
Okay.
about that those guys got in so soon that they actually had to delay the. I think it was the 25 and the
Mm,
50. Yeah, because they were coming in and they weren't supposed to. It just,
Yeah, I can't
yeah,
imagine that was expected. Those guys were flying.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. 300 was 360 miles like that. Oh, jeez. On gravel. I mean, just doing it on pavement would be a challenge. But you say you went to the expo and everything. Is that? It looks like it's just a festival atmosphere. All kinds of people. I assume you got to at least see some of the more famous riders.
Yeah, all the vendors and then like I guess the more most I didn't see any of the pros really at them. Like they had some events, but they weren't really walking around during that the day before their big race. I did see what is it? What's his name? Alex from GCN was like shooting footage and
Oh, if
stuff
it,
on there.
uh-huh.
He had like a legit cameraman with them, and so it's just neat. Like and seeing all the the gear. There's just so much gear. It's
Yeah,
insane.
just almost overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean it was the largest expo they've had, and
Oh,
I think they were already talking that like next year they're gonna have to take over like another block
oh, so it's right
to even.
downtown.
Yeah, it's in downtown
Oh,
Emporia.
oh boy.
uh and it's probably like maybe two city blocks that
Wow.
they put the expo in, and it's, I mean, you go to a local race, it's what, three tenths. This
Right.
is like
Yeah.
100 tenths. I don't know. It's like,
Wow.
so.
Well, Emporia is not that big a town, is it?
No, it's pretty small. I mean, you can
Yeah.
walk through the downtown area in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Where'd you stay? Did you rent a house?
So I stayed in the dorms, and
Okay.
that was really cool because you're right there with all riders. Unbound is, I forget what they say, it's like 45 different countries, all 50 states were represented. So the dorms are great too. It's inexpensive. They give you all your meals while you're there at the,
Oh.
college. Um, The only tip I would have for anyone there is you bring a mattress topper because that bed was hard as a rock. So didn't know
Yeah.
that, but
Okay, well, so that answers another question. I have so many questions about this stuff. Is because I got to believe restaurants were just backed up to the hilt, what few there are. So you didn't have to worry about getting your meals. That was all taken care of. That's great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that
So
was so convenient and made planning just so much easier. You didn't have to bring in cooler and all your
right.
food with you.
Yeah.
Um,
So did you have someone with you for support? You did. You did
no,
the
I
whole
went
thing. Oh no,
And I went,
really?
yeah, I went just by myself, and then used the what's it, the crew for hire that they offer.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
like 3 feet and crew for hire. You can pay them a fee, and you give them your bags that you want at the checkpoint one, checkpoint two, and they grab your stuff for you, give it to you, and ask you what you need.
Okay. Oh man, your first time you went so I figured you had a friend, cousin, wife, somebody to crew for you. Oh boy, yeah. So, but that worked out okay, huh?
Yeah, I had everything packed like nutrition to the max, and I even put like a spare tire in each bag and even more tubes in case I use the ones that I already had.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't know if they have a limit on how big the bags are. Some of the bags I saw were like book bags, like pretty packed.
Uh,
So they sort of let you do whatever you wanted.
yeah.
Um,
So is it a bag? What did you have a bag for each aid station? Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So aid station one is, I think, it's like 70 miles, and then 150 is the other one. And then there's two other water stops. So water stop at 40 and 112, I believe.
Okay. All right. So you knew at the aid stations that no matter what went wrong, you were going to have at least some help in the bag. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, oh
Yep.
boy. Yeah. So take us through the morning of the race. I mean, when did you go? It was like 7:30 was the start. When was the start?
So the morning of, I woke up, I didn't sleep very well. You never do
Yeah.
when you're,
Yeah.
so I think I got up at like 3. Got some breakfast at 4. So then you got changed. And then I went to the start line because I wanted to see the pros take off. They take off at like 5:45, I think. So got down there, watched them take off. I mean, it's such a huge event. I mean, they have their own helicopter, Lifetime does, so they're
Right.
recording it from their helicopter. It's
Yeah.
wild, all the camera crews down there. So watch them take off, and then the elite women, and then really after that, the 200 took off at 6:30. So just got in line. I sort of, they have it marked, 10 hours, 12, 14, 16. I
Oh,
sort of
that's how.
lined up at
Okay.
like I sort of lined up at 16 hours and just, rode starting there.
Yeah. I wondered how if they broke it into corrals or just what they did. So it's by what you expect your time to be then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just honor system. Like you don't have to, I know some of their other races, you have to qualify with times to get in certain starting positions. They just sort of let you line up where you want.
Yeah. Was it when they let you go? Was it just madness, or did you kind of hang back, or what?
It takes off pretty quick.
Yeah.
So the first 30 miles are pretty smooth travel. Um, so you're riding in just a huge group. Just, I mean, you're with 1,000 other people. Um, so that was a really cool experience because I've ridden in like groups, like road groups, but gravel is very different. I mean, th- they're just sucking rocks
Yeah.
back. I wasn't expecting that. Like
Uh,
hitting your glasses, and I had one
oh.
hit my tooth.
Oh, geez.
So then I was like, oh great, I'm gonna get a rock in the mouth, close my mouth. Um, so the first, yeah, I would say probably good 20, maybe even 30 miles. Yeah, you're riding in a pretty large group. There's not a lot of hills in the beginning,
Okay.
so it stays together for a while. But I don't even know if it's a mile of road before you hit the first gravel road. So that's
Okay.
really cool. Like there's almost no pavement.
Yeah. 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 But it took what 20, 30 miles before things started to thin out a little bit, huh? Oh boy.
Yeah, then it started breaking up,
Yeah.
which is sort of good because you couldn't see like what you're riding into.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you have to trust people, and then you get caught on one side of the road, and there's big ruts coming up, so then you're trying to get over.
Yeah. Because yeah, that was I understood some people commenting that that was one of the issues was deep ruts from the mud, and if you got caught in there and got against the side of one of those ruts, it was really hard to stay up.
Yeah, I had that happen to me once later on, where it got sort of stuck on the left side, and me and another rider went through a rut. Luckily we both sort of stopped in it, and
No.
just had to do the lean over fall almost kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that one.
And
Yeah,
got back up because it was
yeah,
like in a hill too, of course.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I guess maybe that's when people ride in the roads, maybe. I don't know, like the week of when they probably shouldn't have been when it was all wet.
yeah. I think that was mainly the cause, and I'm sure there were plenty of vehicles through there too, support vehicles for the pros and who knows what. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, there's certainly no rules, and there's no way they're gonna grade those roads before the race. So, oh boy, gravel racing at its finest. Yeah, yeah.
It's fun.
What was your nutrition? Were you? How did you work that out?
I pretty much planned, I was all scratch
Okay.
drink, and I had two 30-ounce bottles on my bike and a liter and a half on my back in a pack. Started with all scratch. Um, so I think what I sort of planned was try to get like 250 calories of like liquid,
Mm-hmm.
which is about a little less than a liter an hour. I figured that's what had worked well for me previously. And then just to switch it up, I was going to take a gel like every hour and a half
Okay.
just for something different.
Yeah.
Um, and then I figured later in the day, I'll just throw whatever sounds good. I hadn't had any rides more than 7 hours, so
Oh,
I didn't know
so you don't
what
know.
it was going to sound good at that point. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um, this is what had worked for all my long rides without issue. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure when you get up that 6 7 hour range that things start tasting different. I have no doubt. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't want that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So take us through what happened to you, your experience. How did it go?
So yeah, so started off the road really quick. The first like 30 miles, probably 16 miles per hour average, kind of with the group and gravel, which for me was quick
Uh huh.
and gravel and that kind of gravel. Started clearing out, which I actually liked that because then I could sort of pace myself on the hills. And some people were just like um, coasting down all the hills. I was still trying to pedal through the hill, down the hills. Um, First, probably 5 hours, 50 miles, like went perfect. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I got this.
Uh oh.
What are they talking this up, Unbound up for, These roads are no big deal. Um, Very just rolling hills, not a lot of like chunk yet.
Uh huh.
Um, Felt really good. I think the biggest mistake I had going into it is, everyone talks about beating the sun, beating the sun. Oh yeah, you got to beat the sun
Oh.
at Unbound, which is basically like 14 and a half hours, I think, or somewhere around there. So I sort of had that in my mind. I probably shouldn't have had any kind of time goal at all. Like I
Mm-hmm.
plan on doing it again without a time goal. Um, just because it's just such a cool race.
Yeah.
But I probably went like a little easier than a pace than I would have done like a century. Got to mile 50, 60, somewhere around there is when you hit, I believe it's called like Call Reserve or Shaw Reserve, something like that. And that's when like the roads, you start getting to more of the like minimal maintenance roads
Okay.
where it's dirt and rock. And That's when the hills really start.
Oh.
Most of the climbing, I believe, is between miles like 70 and 130. The majority of the climbing comes in those miles. Um, but I was still feeling really good. It was starting to warm up. Sun was starting to come out, but it was still overcast. It's probably in the or low 70s at that point.
Yeah.
Still feeling really good. Having fun ping ponging with people, pass them up, and then
Uh
a
huh.
mile later they pass me up. Doing that, talking to riders as you know, keep going. Every once in a while, snapping some pictures.
Oh boy.
Um,
Uh huh. Just
Met
a great day in Kansas, huh?
yeah, great day. And there's always like a ride. Like there's so many riders. I think like 1,000 did the 200 that you were never really alone for very long.
Uh huh.
I've done rides where you're alone almost the whole
Right.
race.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
this was not really like that. Um, and just meeting all kinds of people. It's so cool finding out where everyone's coming from, how they ended up there. The son ride, with his dad and things like that, like
Mm-hmm.
kid. Um, but then things really got real about probably mile 80
Yeah.
is when the hills just unrelenting and the wind picked up and the heat
Oh.
picked up.
Oh boy.
Um, and you're just riding down some of this chunk and it's rattling your your teeth kind of thing. Like you were talking about recovery, I think before we went on, and honestly, I've 100% recovered except for my one hand just from holding those and rattling.
Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah.
uh the So some of it is like would love to have a mountain bike
Yeah.
going down
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
these hills. um but was still feeling pretty good, probably until mile 90. Then that's when the heat, the clouds went away. Sun there, it's unrelenting out there. There's just zero shade.
I was gonna say, yeah. There's no
Absolutely,
trees. Yeah. Nothing.
there's absolutely none. You are not in shade ever.
Yeah.
Um, so the heat started getting to me. I kept pushing up. I mean, some of these hills, I mean, you're pushing 200 watts and you're doing like 3.5 miles per hour up the hill or something, so you're just like you have to put the watts unless you're gonna walk the bike. Like
Right,
so,
right.
I'm not a super powerful cyclist, so um, was doing that, but and then really started feeling the effects of the heat. Started slowing down, um, and then yeah, I like to say like Little Egypt is where dreams went to die. I got to that section and then even more hills and rode there, and then that's when like my body started just like revolting against like all nutrition. It was just like I
Oh,
don't want like water, I don't want um
oh, yeah, that's the
you
worst.
know, yeah, it was frustrating. I like didn't nothing sounded good. I was still forcing myself to drink. Um and just every time I'd get to up a hill, I would just like try to take it easy for a couple minutes. But the thing is like within 3, 4 minutes, you got another hill that's just as bad as the one you. I think you know all in, I did 108 miles, but I still think it had like over 8,000 feet of
Really?
climbing. Um,
Oof.
so
Well, what are these hills like? What's the grade percentage? Are they mostly 5, 6%, or they get higher?
Yeah, they're not horrible and they're not super long. It's just they don't
No,
stop.
they don't stop.
There is no flat, there is no recovery. Even, like out here, like in Wildwood. I mean, you got some good hills, but they don't come, you don't have 20 of the same monster hills, you
Yeah.
know, all in a row in
Right.
a, you know, 15-mile stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that and the heat and the headwind, it just felt like everything was against you. You're
Yeah.
just
Oh.
sucking up it, and so got this is all sort of after the first checkpoint. Like the checkpoint and the first water stop went fine. Switched everything out, um, and then yeah, like mile 100 is when I started realizing like yeah, I'm not feeling good, and this
Oh.
is not normal at all. Like I'm not usually someone that has heat issues. I actually usually do pretty well in the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've run like some half marathons and done triathlons like years and years ago, and I always sort of did better in the heat because I'm a smaller guy
Mm-hmm.
um, than maybe some like bigger guys would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, about mile 100 is when I realized like, yeah, something's like not right. So
So
kept
you felt
flowing.
physically, you just felt it all coming apart then.
Yeah, it felt like I blew up.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I blowing up? Like, I feel amazing any other time at this point. This was probably only 7 hours in, 7.5 hours in. Usually, I don't know. I've never blown up in a
Yeah.
race. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I got to learn what that felt like. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, just really was slowing down. Every hill was taking longer to get up, and then it was taking me longer to recover. And I wasn't really recovering. I think because of the heat was like starting to kick in then, so it was
Mm-hmm.
making it harder to recover from each hill.
Yeah. Because you
So
went, I mean, the temperature went from like what, the 50s to 80s in a matter of just a
yeah,
few hours, right?
mid 80s. Yeah,
Yeah.
by 2 p.m. I think yeah, it was probably like 84, 85.
Yeah.
And it just feels different too, like when there's no shade or because there wasn't really a breeze either. It didn't feel like there was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and that 100th mile and going forward was just really slowing down. And then you start seeing people they find that one tree,
Oh.
in that mile stretch, and they're
Uh-huh.
sitting under it recovering. And you just start looking at those, and they look better and better every time you see someone under one.
Yeah.
Finally, like mile 107, 108, I saw there was two guys under a tree, and I was like, all right, I'm joining them. And misery loves company kind of
Right.
thing. So
Right.
sat there with them, and at this point is when I realized like I was just getting so nauseous and
Oh.
and even dizzy from the heat.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, I even noticed I like stopped sweating. I'm like, oh
That's no,
man,
that's
I've
the
never had
sign
this
right there.
issue.
Yeah.
And I sort of knew at that point. I was like, oh, like this is I'm gonna sit here for a little bit, but I if it doesn't get better, there's no way I can
Yeah.
like reasonably get through the rest of this race.
Yeah.
Waited probably 20 minutes, chug some drink, and it honestly was just like getting worse. Uh, I think I was like, down that road of like heat stroke kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I do this for health and fun. I was like, I'm not gonna, if I pass out in this race, I'm like that, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a wife and kids. They're gonna be like, oh, you're not allowed to go do these races
Right.
anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so at that point, another rider was like, I called the, pickup, and I was like, you know
Oh.
what, I need to do that too, because the next water stop was um only like 5 miles away, but I was like, I don't even know if I can get to that 5 miles, and I was like, and if I do, I mean, I feel spent. The issue isn't that I ran out of water. I had
Mm-hmm.
water.
Yeah.
I just was overheating. I was like,
Yeah.
um, so at that point, I called it. But the cool thing about this event is you just talk to some people in the Jeep riding back, and just everyone's got a story, or unfortunately there's a lot of like injuries too, a lot of broken collarbones and things
Yeah.
like that. Talking to
Mm-hmm.
other how some other people's races ending, put it in perspective. You're like, all right, I pulled out for heat, but could have been a lot worse. At least I can go
Yeah.
riding my bike next week.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's just it. I mean, when you say you quit sweating, I mean, that's yeah. You're at the doorstep of real trouble then. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Did you feel up to that point that if it hadn't gotten so hot that you had your water and nutrition right, that you'd have been okay?
I think I did. I think what I should have done though, in hindsight, is just swapped I think I should have took more ice. Like some people were doing like a lot of ice. I
Mm-hmm.
think I should have done the same thing. I should have iced down everything. Ice
Yeah.
down my bag, ice down my bottles, ice in my jersey, because it's a little tricky too because there's only stops every 40 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't really think that it's going to be bad, but that 40 miles takes you 3 hours, and
Yeah.
then at time a
Yeah.
lot changes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in hindsight, I would have probably went out slower, um, and then also like just done more ice.
Mm-hmm. That was another thing I wondered. Did you feel like you got caught up in the excitement at the beginning, and you should have? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy to do
I'm
because it's
sure.
just it's like a train. It's just a moving train in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, I unfortunately too, like I made, like I looked down at my Garmin like after riding with that group for a while, and I was like, oh man, I didn't even start my Garmin.
Oh no. No.
So I don't even know what kind of watts or anything I was doing. So I didn't even have the data to tell me if I had dug myself in a hole. And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard sometimes when you're in a group because you can't tell, like, was I just riding off people? So it was
Yeah.
fast, but I didn't put any effort, or
Right.
so
Yeah. 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 Oh, I'm sure the excitement there is. I mean, everybody's wound up. Well, I mean, it's weeks and months of build up to the event, and yeah, you just the adrenaline's flowing, and real easy to let yourself get out of control before you even get warmed up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. So they hauled you back, and you got cooled down, and then you came around, huh?
Yeah, and it took me a few hours. The biggest thing was like just a ice cold Coke in the Jeep heading back. That was like, oh, that was so good. It was like manna from the heaven. It
Yeah.
was it was so nice. Because even in the ride back, it's a pretty long ride back, um, 20 miles or something. Was feeling horrible the whole time. Like I would say
Oh.
it probably took me like close to 3 hours to like sort of fully recover from like that heat.
Oh.
Um, so like looking back, I'm not like a little disappointed that I think I could have got 4 miles and I would have just like found some shade, iced myself down. I could have been there with like all the midnight crew and
Yeah.
finishing
Yeah.
off right.
Yeah.
So that's my plan for the next one. So I got my fingers crossed. I want to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but that's just it. I mean, I got sagged in on a century one time on a real hot day, and I mean, it was heat stroke, and I got in the car, and it was a few miles down the road. Why did I quit? I'm feeling good. But
Yeah.
then I knew that if I stopped them and got back on the bike, it'd be 15 minutes, and I'd be right back in the same mess. So you just
Yeah,
ride it out.
that's
Yeah.
probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
It's
get
easy to
cooled
say
off
when you're
and
in a nice AC car.
yeah, you get courage in it. Yeah, and then yeah, common sense needs to take over. Yep. So so basically, the elements got you. Uh, and like we've talked about. I mean, we're not used to the heat yet here in St. Louis, so we're really not adapted. And yeah, that much of a temperature change in that short a time, and then that sun. No, especially if you can't ride under a tree canopy every 10 minutes or so. Man, it's
Yep.
just like riding in the desert. Yeah. Jeez. Did it get humid?
It wasn't really humid.
No.
It's beautiful though. Like it's Unbound's its own thing. I mean, riding up there, the visibility was like insane that day. I mean, you crest some of the hills and you just look and you can,
Yeah.
I don't know how many miles, but it seemed like you could just see for 20 miles. It was insane. Like you could see everything.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Oh. Yeah, I've mentioned to my wife I'd like to go drive to Emporia at some other time of the year and just ride some of the roads just to experience that. Just seems
I
like it'd be
believe they
fun.
do some other races too that are, that on those roads. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, have to look into it. I would love to look into it too because it's great riding everywhere. It's you know
Yeah.
beautiful scenery. I mean, they're not made for bikes, but that's what
Right.
makes it sort of
That's
more fun.
That's the game. Yeah, yeah. If you
Yeah.
had it to do over again, would you switched up and done the 100 instead of the 200?
Mm,
Okay.
uh, no, I don't think I would have. The 100 is different. The 200's like the marquee event.
Right.
That's the one that they try to make hard. Um, so like I don't know, there is something like with Unbound, like you go, I mean, just even to be there, like the experience is like so cool. Um, but the 200's like the original, that's the one that's got the
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take part in that. The 100, the it's a great course too. But like I've done 100 miles and I wanted to do something that was like, way above my
Okay.
limits and comfort level. So,
Okay.
yeah,
This was a stretch ride for you then. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Now what this was the north course, and did I hear correctly next year they're going to do the south course or whatever
I
the
believe that's how they've done it in the past. They've done two and two. So like this
Okay.
course was almost identical to 2024.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be a south
Yeah.
year next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to go for it, huh? If you can get in?
I want to, yeah, I'm gonna try to get in. I'll do the lottery. They have some other ways like you can get into with like the coaching and things like that. Some of those get expensive, but um I don't think I'm like a fit enough cyclist to do, all these like qualifier races and things
Oh.
like that.
Yeah.
I'm very much a mid to backpack kind of rider, so
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So that uh the only way then because you did it this year doesn't give you any advantage in terms of next year. You're just in the lottery with everybody else. Okay. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I mean it keeps getting more and more popular, so it's
I
going to
know.
continue just to get harder and harder to get into. Though the one thing that I was looking at like the stats that's pretty wild though is I think they originally accepted like 1,500 people in the 200, but only like 1,100 showed up. So I guess
Really?
400 other people just don't they get in and didn't show up, or I don't. And then
Wow.
I don't know. It seemed weird because I remember like looking at the starting list and I was like, oh wow, there's 1,500 people. But then when I looked at the results, like after it said like there was 1,100 riders. I was like, what?
So
Really got
there
in
were
and didn't show
400
up?
slots out there floating around somewhere that people could have had.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
and then I think there was maybe like 200 of us that probably did not finish. So
Yeah.
kudos to all the people that beat the elements that day.
Yeah. Well, to hear your story did not finish. Holy smokes! Look what you did. Look what you accomplished. And then heat gets to you. I mean, it's gotten to all of us at some point. But you really put in perspective for me the incredible power of those elite riders. To, I mean, to ride that in those conditions and finish sub 10 hours at those speeds. I mean, that's not human. It just
The average speeds that they carry, I don't even know how it's possible without more crashes.
yeah,
I don't know how they don't
yeah,
crash
uh,
out because I had like one close call coming down you hit a smooth patch of gravel and then one or two big chunk rocks hit one
yep,
of those just right. Your back tire starts to go out. You do that at 25 miles per hour down a
yeah,
road, it starts to get a little hairy and scary. So
yeah.
I don't know how those guys average what 20 miles per hour on the
Oh
whole
yeah,
course. Like it's
oh man,
insane.
yeah. Well, even the XL guys, holy smokes, their speeds. Jeez, I mean, it's flat out impressive, and to finish and be able to walk away. I mean, they just get done, and I mean, I'm sure they're gassed, but still, they look like they could go another 50 miles without any trouble at all. And oof,
Yeah, it's wild.
yeah. So overall, worth it, and you'll do it again if you can get in.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and
Yeah,
that's what I like. Even though it's like my first DNF ever and running, cycling, triathlon, everything, like it was still like one of the coolest race experiences I've had. And like the
yeah,
108 miles that I got to do on that course were like so fun.
yeah,
It was so cool.
yeah. So what
So
do you do? What do
yeah,
you
I
do
hope to do
different?
it.
What do you do different next time?
Training wise, I don't think I would do a whole lot
No.
differently.
Okay.
I would continue probably in that sweet spot. I don't think I could have handled more than 10 hours a week. I sort of got 8 to 10 hours a week and started adding intensity. Um, and I felt like that was about as much as I could probably handle just with life, work, and
Yeah.
and just really what my body could handle too.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would have changed that. I think I would uh, do more long rides just to get into that unknown area. Like, you know, riding for 6 hours is very different than riding a 10-hour race. So I
Yeah.
I do plan on maybe trying to do some more of those kind of races in the future, some more of those like 8 to 10 hour races to dial in more nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And then the heat thing too. I think, in the future, like if it is cool, there's always the option that it's going to be a hot day. I was sort of laughing at one guy that I was talking to before the race. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was doing sauna things after every ride," and I was like, "Oh
Whoa.
man, you're like really into it."
Whoa.
And then after the fact, I'm like, "Man, wish maybe I should have done that. That would have probably been beneficial."
Yeah. You can't foresee that. Did just jerseys and shorts? I mean,
Yeah, just bib shorts and
so okay.
short sleeve jersey. Nothing fancy. I just
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Okay.
stuffed the pockets with everything.
Yeah. 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 So you didn't have layers because I mean 50 degrees. I'd think about having a jacket or something on, but I wouldn't want to haul it for 200 miles. And yeah.
Yeah, it was cold the first probably 30 minutes, but I sort of knew that. I was like, I can get like I've done other rides in
Yeah.
the 50s and you get warmed up. I knew it wasn't going to stay there for a
Right.
long time, so
Right. Yeah. So what? Somebody comes up and says, "I'm doing Unbound next year." What's your number one piece of advice?
Ooh. Um think more just to enjoy the experience and don't get caught up in trying to race it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what happened to me.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, that's the experience factor. You get in next year, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, you have a different approach, and yeah, you probably do all right. Yeah. So, Alan, thank you. This
Yeah,
is yeah. I love hearing this kind of stuff. This is just great. I mean, no matter how it came out, it's still experience, stories to tell, and I'm sure you'll never forget. Even if you don't ever get in again, you won't forget this one. So, yeah.
I don't say that though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's just it. I mean, you probably will get in. I mean, if there's 400 people that didn't show, for crying out loud, there's 400 slots out there that somebody could have latched onto. There's got to be a website somewhere where you can. Hey, I'm not going. Somebody want this one? Uh, yeah. Jeez. Yep. Well, good luck next year in the lottery.
Yeah, thank you.
You're in. You have momentum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for listening.